Hello and welcome to another edition of the Door 14 Hockey Podcast. I'm your host Marty alongside Dave
Hello.
and John.
Hello.
Hello, just as you're about to take a drink.
You would
Anybody
think
who
after 10 years I would know when you're about to introduce me.
Exactly. I know. For anybody who is new to our show, we're the Door 14 Hockey Podcast. We're a podcast that takes a topical look at the world of hockey right across the whole spectrum of hockey news. So we take any news we see during the week and we talk about it here on the podcast. We look at different areas of hockey, both here in the UK and also further afield across the pond. Boys, as we do before we always get stuck into our episode, how are you all doing? Dave, how are you?
Good. Surviving month down, first month of the my eldest at big school, so it's all been a bit crazy. So fun.
And you were at the game this past weekend. I missed it unfortunately. But you were at the game, I think, with one of the boys. Is that right?
Yes, Harvey joined me for the game, so he had a blast. It's very rare that you get one-on-one time. It's either 1-on-2 or a whole fam. So it was nice.
And obviously, the most important question for this time around is: did he make a decision this game round if he wanted to play or he wanted to support the Giants, or did he want to support Glasgow?
He has been one round quite significantly over the end of the last season and over the summer. He is now 100% a Giants fan.
Good. John, how are you doing? I know
you put the whacking stick away, Dave.
Just for context, there's no violence to the children in this podcast. Okay. John, how are you doing?
Violence against me by my daughter, to be honest.
Well, yeah, kids do that to you. How are you doing? I know you were at caught a game as well this past weekend.
I did. I managed to get to a game. My daughter actually asked me specifically if she could come to a game, which I was, doing that painful smile through because I was like, yes, you can. We are never making it there on time. So I think I messaged you guys. So it was the game in Glasgow, Belfast, Glasgow. Only my second Giants game of the season. First one having been your birthday game, Marty.
Yep.
And missed all but the last two goals. Exciting first period that I was not there for.
Well, yes, we will be coming on to this past weekend and also obviously the past fortnight since our last podcast. There has been some action and some really surprise outcomes as well. So we will be talking about all of that. No Aaron tonight. He is missing in action. I think he's busy with work commitments tonight. So hopefully he'll be back in the next podcast in 2 weeks' time, in which we will have no John either. I know this is your last podcast for a while before you go on paternity leave.
Yeah. Amazingly, the paternity leave from this podcast is worse than it is from my own job. My own job, I get 1 week paid, 1 week stat. Apparently with the podcast, there is no paternity leave allowance at all, which I'm shocked at. But next week, there will be a new addition to the podcast family.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. Very exciting. Yes, we did. Well, at least we're letting you. At least we're letting you go. At least we're letting you go off. Some free time away. Yes, we don't pay for it, but yeah, at least we're letting you have time off away from the podcast. Boys, if we're happy to, I think it's time to get stuck into the podcast, and we'll start off as we always do with period 1 of hockey. As I alluded to in the intro, the period 1 of hockey is a roundup of stories from around the UK, and also we're going to start off with talking about the current standings as they currently are on the 2nd of October 2025. We have had almost a month's play, shall we say? Not even. Short of it, maybe like 3 and a bit weeks, maybe, of action. We still have only had 2 games in the league. So the standings there are as follows. The Nottingham Panthers sit top with 1 game played and 2 points. They're sitting top, I think, on goal difference alone. Glasgow Clan are in second with 1 game played, 2 points. And then on the bottom, then Manchester Storm are sitting in 9th, 1 game played, no points. And Guildford are in bottom, 1 game played, no points. And again, it's all to do with goal difference as well. So very early days, not much to talk talk about in the league. I think the only thing really to talk about at the moment is our Challenge Cup action, and that is some action that's been going on in the Challenge Cup. I mean, boys, if we were to talk about the Challenge Cup coming into this season, before we go through the table, I mean, coming into this season, we talked about the Challenge Cup and our predictions for the Challenge Cup. We talked about our annoyances about the Challenge Cup. We talked about how fans complain about the Challenge Cup and the action that takes place there and how long it is. And that is still obviously a factor. It takes a really long time to fulfill. We're not going to get into that. But if you were to say to us at the start of the season that the tables and the groups would look like this and the results would be the way they've been so far, teams scalping other teams week in, week out, and just not being able to predict the score lines at all for half of these games. I mean, what is going on there?
Group B is a complete head scratcher. Like I asked you guys on, was it this past weekend actually? I think I asked you guys, help me to make sense of Group B, because Belfast cannot for the life of them beat Dundee, but Fife will put 8 past them. Meanwhile, Belfast are absolutely scalping Fife. So help me make sense, because it's just not making any sense to me right now. And also with the results that we've had, I'm shocked that Fife are sitting at bottom of Group B. The whole group just does not make sense to me this year. And if you'd asked any of us at the start of the season, none of us would have predicted that we're now just about halfway. We're just over halfway through the group stage now. You've got Belfast and Sheffield having to play a play-in game.
Yep. Yeah. Crazy.
It's crazy.
Crazy. I mean, if we take a look at just kind of what has happened over the last fortnight, just from a kind of a quick headlines, kind of grabbing kind of idea of the matches and how they kind of came about, some of those scorelines that you are talking about, John. Glasgow put in a massive comeback, overturning a 4-goal deficit to beat Dundee 6-5 in overtime on September 20th. This is the same Dundee team who beat Belfast at home. Then you also had Belfast Giants. Talk about the Belfast Giants. We had they obviously beat Glasgow twice last weekend. The first home game win as well at home after that defeat against Dundee. Obviously, that was needed in order to kind of bounce back. We had Fife Flyers winning their first home game in this campaign as well. That was a 5-1 victory over Dundee. And again, that was massive morale booster, steadying the Flyers there after a really tricky start. I mean, what else have you got? You've had Cardiff having a bit of a mix there. They had a 3-0 shutout against of Manchester, but then they also had their struggles, but they're sitting top of that group stage, and we'll go through the groups now in a second. We've had Sheffield, who've had upset as well. We've had Nottingham, who won 4-1. Sheffield beat Nottingham 4-1 after a massive upset that they had as well. I mean, it's just been an insane scorelines, insane. Looking at the groups.
I got it wrong about the play-in game. It was before the last set of games. It was Belfast and Sheffield in the play-in game. It's not now. It's obviously Belfast and Coventry in the play-in game right now.
Let me go through the group stages, the groups, just to kind of see how they are at the moment and what they're looking like. So in Group A, the Cardiff Devils are sitting top spot, 6 games played and 10 points, having only dropped 2 points so far. The Sheffield Steelers are in second, 6 games played, 9 points. The Coventry Blaze are in third with 6 games played, 8 points. Nottingham Panthers are in fourth with 6 games played, 6 points. Manchester are in fifth, 6 games, 4 points, and Guildford are in sixth place, 6 games played and 3 points. In Group B, then you've got the Dundee Stars sitting on top spot with 7 games played, 9 points. The Belfast Giants are in second with 6 games played, 8 points. Glasgow Clan are in third with 6 games played, 6 points, and the Fife Flyers are sitting bottom there with 7 games played and 5 points. But yeah, I mean, it's been insanity for the start of this campaign. Genuinely, it took me by surprise, as I've been doing I've been doing some TikTok. I'm trying my best, and we'll see how long it goes. I've been trying to do.
Mate, you're doing. No, don't sell yourself short there, mate. Though the game day recaps are fantastic. They're great content.
I was going to say that I'll see how long it lasts before I go. Okay, enough. That's what I was thinking. It was like, let's see how long the streak runs. But my plan is to try and keep doing it every weekend.
It'll last as long as our weekly podcast lasted, and then went to every other week.
Yes, maybe. But
if you could do the weekly recaps on the week that we don't do the podcast, now that to me is a simple solution.
Yeah, or put a separate video on YouTube. Anyway, we'll get back to that. Anyway, that's a different topic off podcast. But as I was going to say, when I've been doing those kind of match reviews, just looking at those score lines and kind of looking, kind of keeping a wee eye on things closer than I think I have in a long while, it's been crazy. Just kind of looking to see, the goal scores, the variations of the goal scores, how it's just like it's not the same person's going over. It's like if it was a 5-0 game, it's gonna be 5 different scores for the team. It's been insane. So yeah, very exciting start to the Challenge Cup, in my opinion, anyway. Guys, do we have anything else on the standings before we move on?
Nope, not for me.
I mean, league wise, you can't really pick too much out of it right now.
No.
And because the vast majority of the games that are played are cup, you've obviously got 6 teams and 4 teams who are not playing the others for a prolonged period of time. So I still stand that's one of the major issues with the way the Challenge Cup is done and how restrictive the schedule is to start with, because we're going to have nearly a month is going to be played in the Elite League, and still teams from Group A and Group B will not have played each other competitively at all. In fact, I think even in pre-season, I don't think any Group A and Group B teams actually cross paths. So since the end of last season, the likes of Belfast, Fife, Glasgow, and Dundee have not played any of the English and Welsh team. So we still have a lot of competitive games that we really don't know how they're gonna sit. Maybe Belfast are struggling within an exceptionally strong set of Scottish teams, and maybe Group B is the stronger group. We don't know. That could be the case. It's probably not the case, but you never know. Maybe Dundee are going to go out and perform absolutely amazingly against Sheffield and Cardiff. But let's wait and find out.
Actually, before we do move on, that actually gives me. I did want to ask 2 questions actually before we move on. I kind of just remembered. Looking at both groups at the moment, Group A and Group B. Obviously, Group A, Cardiff sitting top there. 6 games played, 10 points. We talked about the fact that Cardiff are now under new coaching direction with Tomo. Dave, do you think this is a really good kind of indication of Tomo's his goals for this season in terms of starting off strong, continue with form, making sure that they knock out the Challenge Cup position as quickly as possible, so they know they've kind of secured that moving forward?
I think that they're looking for that consistency to continue. One thing I would say about Cardiff is they're back to that sort of team toughness that they're known for. Crazy amount of penalty minutes coming out of the last couple of weekends with them.
Cardiff are not afraid to drop the gloves. That much is very, very clear over the last couple of weekends, especially against Manchester. Now, I don't know if we take more about the style of play that Manchester are playing. Maybe Manchester looked at what Fife were doing and thought we need to be geared up to play a specific way to maybe aim for 7th, 8th in the table. And that's only being apparent because they're coming up against teams that, being as nice as you possibly can be, they're not expected to win. So the best thing they can do is make those wins hurt for the other teams. Unfortunately, a lot of their guys are coming down on the wrong side of a lot of these altercations as well. So there's only so much that it's going to get you. But Cardiff and a lot of their players definitely not afraid to drop the gloves. So that could be an interesting thing to throw in as we go on.
Yeah, 100%. I do think they're going to see that team toughness that we'll see that throughout, and it was something that Coventry was known for back in the day under Tomo, so we might see something like that continue. But let's watch this space. I think it's been a really good start for a new coach. Well, to say new coach, returning coach to the league. So we'll have to watch this space.
And John, Dundee, I'm not just picking Dundee because the Scotland, Scotland, blah, blah, blah. But Dundee obviously leading.
I mean, I am
the
the Scottish correspondent, so
you are.
What else would you ask me about?
Exactly. So obviously this group, the Group B, Dundee holding top spot there. As you said, kind of waves in terms of the performance. In terms of some weekends they're dominating, some performances they're dominating, some performances are a bit like, how is that happening? Realistically, and your thoughts on this, coming towards the end of the group stages and the group games, the likelihood of Dundee holding that top spot moving to the end of the group stage, what's your thought?
It all depends how they do against Glasgow, because so far they've played, I think, all of their cup games, if the vast majority, if not all of their cup games against Fife and Belfast. So we still have. I think the games against Belfast are now finished.
I think they've
for
played
them.
Glasgow once in the.
Maybe they've played 7 games, and it feels like all of them have been against Belfast so far. But I know they've played. I know they've played a couple against Fife, because we've had the now infamous bow from Mark Lefebvre on the ice. We've had all that. So
they did play. They played Dundee. Glasgow and Dundee played each other. They beat Dundee 6-5 in overtime on the 20th of September. Just having a quick look there.
So that means they've still got 3 games against Glasgow to do. So that would take them up to 10. So that means probably one against Belfast, one against Fife is probably what's left. So the Glasgow games are massively important. Not to say that the games against Fife and Belfast aren't, but you can't argue with results. You can't argue with what they've done so far against Belfast in particular. Now, take the 8-0 game that they shipped to Fife. Take that as a complete outlier. Almost all their other games have been very competitive, have been very close. They're proving that they've got something this year. They've got something that certainly I didn't, and I don't think any of us thought that they had. None of us thought that they were going to compete at this kind of level. I still stand. I don't think they can do it long term. And I get your question was, what can they do over the next 5 games? Because that's what they've got left in the group. Yeah, I wouldn't throw them out. I wouldn't throw them out unless Belfast. Now, Belfast had to get two wins against Glasgow this weekend to realistically stay in contention. And I know it's only a group of 4, and really 1 or 2 games here or there can make all the difference. But I wouldn't bet against Dundee potentially holding on to that top spot, and Belfast potentially having to go through in the play-in game.
Yep. It's crazy. This honestly, genuine.
Actually, when you say that I'm the Scottish correspondent, would you like some other Scottish hockey news right now that's not in the running order? Just a random one, little aside. Do you know who's in Fife this week? The great one.
No, he isn't. What's he? Why?
Yes, he is here playing in the Alfred Dunhill Links competition. So it's been played across 3 golf courses here. And I was going through social media, and one of the Aberdeen Lynx players managed to get a selfie with him out on the course today. Is
he still around by the weekend?
I don't know. I'm tempted to sack my job off tomorrow and head down there and see if I can get a Door 14 interview.
No, that would be a scoop. That'd be very impressive.
Manchester, Glasgow, they won't talk to me, but maybe the great one will.
Possibly. You never know. Guys, let's move on, and we'll take in the first story for period 1. This story is one that I kind of hemmed and had about whether or not we should really just give it any airtime even. Should we waste our time talking about it? But I think it's very important that we do talk about it, even though a lot of people have, I think, are just past it now. I think just we're sickened by everything that happened, but I think it's worth it was a major news piece, hit the headlines right across the whole, it hit BBC News, it hit everywhere. So I think it's worth us having a conversation about that. And this is, of course, the story coming from Sunday, the 21st of September, following the Challenge Cup fixture, in which discriminatory comments were directed at one of the players on social media. I am hearing an echo. Racism, homophobia, and all forms of discrimination or hateful behaviour are unacceptable and will not be tolerated in our league. This is the official announcement that the league put out. The comments were judged to be hateful in nature, racism, homophobia, or similar, and the league then immediately intervened. The league and broader hockey authorities responded in the following ways. The individual responsible was banned for life from the arenas of the teams involved, and the ban was extended by the Elite League to cover all league venues. The incident was also formally reported to appropriate authorities, suggesting possibly law enforcement or relevant cybercrime or harassment units are involved. Ice Hockey UK, or IHUK, publicly backed the league's stance condemning racism and discriminatory conduct. The statement reaffirmed that when such behaviour runs counter to the sport's values and warranted sanctions sanctions would be broadly applied. And on social media, there was a lot of visible support from the hockey community to the player involved. On X or formerly Twitter, a lot of people reaffirming the fact that zero tolerance stance from a fan point of view as well. The incident does come at a time when sports leagues globally are under more scrutiny than ever for the handle of discriminatory behaviour, and the swift response from the Elite League on this suggests that they took major steps straight away. I apologise, my dog is moving around and that's really annoying. I'll try to get her to move. Boys, I suppose the question for us is, I mean, a couple of things. Elite League's response was immediate. Elite League did take response quite quickly, and they obviously said about a full ban across the league. How likely is that as a thing? I mean, this guy very publicly afterwards was making comments again on X about drunken behavior, and that's why he was trying to excuse it and whatever else. But I mean, what's the chances that this actually does become a thing that the Elite League can, I suppose, put in place that stops this young man from getting access to the rinks?
I mean, it's absolutely something that they can do.
Yeah, especially in the larger Ticketmaster world, considering it'll just be his name, and they'll ban his name when he tries to buy tickets. I think that we have all had our issues with the Elite League, and I think that they need to be commended for setting out the stall fast and to the point. We've all had this sort of like transparency issue with the league, but this is one thing that has been very clear and understood, and I think a league ban based on their wording is very much going to be enforced, and rightly so.
I mean, it's on the venues, isn't it? So, like you say, Dave, the Ticketmaster venues that use that as their sales outlet, they will have a system. They will have a no-go. It'd be exactly the same as the way it's treated in football, for example, where fans are. I mean, there's specific task forces to deal with this sort of thing in football within the police, so they'll be issued with banning orders. I assume if this does go the way of any sort of official caution or charges or whatever, then you would assume that would go along the same lines, and may actually affect more than his ability to access ice hockey. It might actually be his ability to access any sort of organised sporting event. But we've got smaller rinks, which they still operate an in-person box office. Fife is a good example. I believe Manchester is still the same as well. Guildford, we know for a fact is like that as well. So it's a little bit more difficult. I think a lot of these venues don't have the old school pin board that you would find in a pub that says barred, don't let in.
Guarantee there is in Fife though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sorry, remember the last podcast there was that spider that was the size of a small dog? It's back, and it clearly loves me talking about ice hockey because it's now crawling under my chair, and it stopped there. It stopped right there. It's right there. The worst part of it last time was it crawled under my chair, stood still, and then I turned to talk to someone about something on the podcast. I looked back, and it was gone. And it's still there. It's still there. Stick with me, guys. What was it talking about?
Whenever
your band.
his leg starts tickling.
Your band.
So my question is, almost, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, John. I stand by. I think it'll be something that should be done by all the venues, but I think it might be a little bit difficult to achieve in some of the smaller venues in particular, if he's so bothered to go. The other side of it is he also has lower leagues that he can go to at the minute. As far as I understand, NIHL, while Henry Stallions, the chief of English Ice Hockey, he put out a statement in support of the action that was being undertaken. As far as I know, the NIHL and SHL teams have not done anything. They've not issued a ban in particular, so let's wait and see. But to be honest, stuff like that's not welcome. He's not a fan.
Yeah. So here's the question. So this is the last question before we move on. So obviously the reactive approach that the Elite League took was to create a lifetime ban, to ban him from the teams. Yeah. So basically across the whole league, it's been a lifetime ban, where, obviously that's the reactive reaction that they took. Proactively though, what do we think, or what should the league be thinking about doing proactively in terms of trying to discourage this in the future, to deter other fans from doing the same? What is it that the league should be thinking about doing to kind of help proactively?
Do you know what? I'm not sure that the league in particular need to reinvent the wheel on this. There are any number of programs like Kick Racism Out, and for any sort of hate or discriminatory action that you can think, there is an organization, or there are ways and the resources to access. What the league should be doing is accessing those and working with those organizations to basically stamp it out before it becomes an issue. We know it's been an issue previously. We know that there's been stuff posted on social media previously. We, of course, know one of the biggest areas where we saw that was around Matt Petgrave and Adam Johnson. Now, the league didn't do anything with it at that point. So maybe this is... I'm not suggesting that the reaction has been heavy-handed, because it hasn't been, but maybe the league is aware of perhaps they should have done something about what was done around that situation. That was a very, very different situation, though. And I want to be very clear, I'm not comparing the two situations at all. But maybe this is the league learning a lesson and taking action.
Yeah, it's a hard one to nail down. There's an element of the league will obviously want to use this as their stick for if it happens again in a vocal way. They should, as you said, involve sort of anti-racism charities. I think that it needs to be something that we can't shy away from, because those things grow in the dark, and if we ignore it, it's only going to get worse. It's not something I ever want to see. I never want to see it in Belfast. We have a myriad of our own issues that we deal with on a weekly or monthly basis outside of the rink, and adding racism on top of that is a bit difficult to swallow. And I know it's not outside the possibilities based on how the geopolitical landscape is at the minute. But yeah, it needs to be something that we keep in our forefront and do what we can to action it.
Yep.
Do you want to just mention the one thing that we should have been talking about rather than talking about this? Is congratulations to Mason Alderson on his first pro goal.
Yeah, 100%.
And his interview,
like flat out, that's what should have. And do you know what? Like, I'm being harsh here, but a lot of young Brits, especially, they get a little post on X, or they might get the odd little TikTok about the event. It shouldn't have been a massive event. It should have just happened.
I agree.
He should have got his goal, and that should have been it.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you see his interview talking about the Giants bringing him back to hockey?
I did see that.
Wasn't sure he wanted to continue on, but then when he went in for CHL, nearly 10,000 people in the stands, that lit the fire under him again. And do you know what? Fair play. I actually said I really enjoyed him playing in Belfast. I thought he was fantastic, and I'm really, really liking how much ice time he's getting in Fife. I think it's going to do him the world of good.
Agreed. No, yeah, it was great. It was a good interview. Boys, let's move on from this talk to a bit more of a positive story to finish off this period before we head into our penalty box segment for this period. The next story we have up is the Nottingham Panthers officially confirmed the schedule for the upcoming 2026 IIHF Continental Cup final, which will be hosted at the Motorpoint Arena from Wednesday the 14th of January to Saturday the 17th of January. This edition features 6-team final, making this the largest European ice hockey tournament ever held in the UK to date. The Panthers will be joined by HC Torpedo, GKS Katowice, and Herning Blue Fox. 2 teams emerging from November's second round groups will also join the field. The 6 teams will split into 2 groups, a blue group and a red group, and round robin matches will run from Wednesday through to Friday. Then Saturday will feature 3 medal round games, 11 o'clock third place playoff between bottom 2 teams, 3 o'clock bronze medal game, runners up from each group, and the 7 o'clock one, which will be the gold medal game, which is the group winners. Ticket prices.
Did you get all of your information about that on TikTok on our channel?
You did put a video out, but no, that's not where I got the information. Actually, if you had a look on on our running order on Monday. You would see that I had put this on Monday already, so I had all the information from then. Ticketing and access, and John, if you're on YouTube, you will see this lovely visual that John has put together for us to have a quick look at the pricing structure for
I
anybody
didn't
who
put it together. I copied and pasted off X.
well, you don't know. For anybody who isn't watching the podcast and is listening in, the ticket prices for an all-day tournament game pass. Let me just zoom in on that because my eyes are blinded now that I'm 40. We have the pricing structure. I am so old. Pricing structure is as follows. All 9 game bundle for gold tickets will be £75 for all 9 games. Silver prices starting from £35 for junior up to £65 for adults, and that's for silver. And for the bronze tier, it's junior prices starting from £30 up to £60 for adult. Obviously, there's discounts for students, disabled, and senior, and obviously team prices too. I mean, boys, let's look at the first thing first and foremost. I mean, 9 games for that price. I mean, I think maybe I'm wrong.
I think
that's
more than £8 a game.
More than £8 a game. I think it's a brilliant price point.
McDonald's for that these days.
I mean, we talk about. I mean, we've seen Continental Cup games, Continental Cup competitions before. We've been to Continental Cup, and we've seen how the prices were very fair, and this is actually. I'm gonna put my hand up when it was announced that Nottingham were hosting the Continental Cup final this year. I genuinely thought to myself, the poor fans are going to be scalped because I think the prices are going to be a bit extortionate. This is reasonable.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's incredibly reasonable. Now, let's be totally honest. This has gone very Elite League playoff final weekend because they still have a Chunder Cup, which is hilarious. So you've got 9 games, you've got eight and a bit games, to be honest, because those 2 teams that turn up for that first game on the Saturday, they ain't playing at 100%, boys. Like that's the Chunder Cup of the Continental Cup right there. But other than that, it's epic. And as well, when you look at the price for like coming down, so you've got £75, which is the gold region. I think it's the zones. I think center ice basically, and then silver and bronze as you head round the bowl. Like you get down to £60 for 9 games, which is absolutely nuts. Like you take that, that's under £7 a game.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what £6.66.666, which is a bit weird, but like that's how much it is. That is the best value hockey going.
I think it's fantastic price. Genuinely do. I think
and the worst part of it is it's my birthday weekend and I have absolutely no chance of going.
No. No. Hello. I forgot to add in the running order. We'll talk about it after. We'll maybe quick chat about it. Unless I don't think it's in the running order for the next one. I'll have a quick look and see. The question I was going to ask is about the Continental Cup, though. So the question for me is, or I was going to just point out, is the fact that 6 teams this time around. And if we look back at the Cardiff win in the Continental Cup, I don't mean to do it in inverted commas because they did win. It's 3 teams, and they beat they were the best of 3 the 3 teams. I mean, this is double the amount of teams. So if Nottingham go and win this, is it more prestigious and more acceptable, shall we say?
Yes.
Less comedy value than what it was when Cardiff won it.
Yes.
Yeah, but let's be fair. There's still 2 teams to be picked, and one of them could have visa problems getting to Nottingham. You never know.
That's true.
But no, by far and away, this is a fantastic. I wasn't sold, to be honest, when they said about the change in format for it, because Marty, it was the most you I've ever felt, because I was like, I don't like change. I like the Continental Cup the way it is. I've always said I like the Continental Cup, but actually, this sort of 4-day weekend to spread this sort of mini tournament across is epic. And the fact that it's in Nottingham as well, knowing that should be like a playoff final weekend sort of atmosphere, that's going to be an epic weekend. If the Nottingham fans haven't got their annual leave in right now, then they need to get it in tomorrow and get their tickets.
And the fact that they're ending on the Saturday rather than the Sunday as well, they should have a massive big
Dear Lord, Anthony, I'll put that on the screen, but I'm not reading that out.
That's controversial.
I don't want us to be cancelled.
But yeah, ending on the Saturday, that's going to be a big crowd,
Mhm.
especially if Nottingham have the final. And obviously that's why they've got all the different games, is so that Nottingham will be playing on the final day, no matter what happens. But I think if they're sitting in the grand final, then we're sitting looking at it could be a fantastic game. Now there's
Can
the
you
issue
imagine?
with selling weekend tickets, is that if your team's not there, like Nottingham could have sold that game, 3 or 4 times over. But we'll see what happens for the final.
Well, I mean, to point out as well, like these are the weekend tickets. They're open for sale now. They went for sale. Was it yesterday? They went or today actually. They went on sale today. And then in December sometime, I think the individual game tickets and day tickets will also be on sale based on whatever's left. So obviously they want to leave some sort of availability for the 2 other teams that are yet to be announced, because they obviously still have to play their groups. And then they'll open up the day ticket slots. But see, to be honest, if that's me, if I'm in Nottingham, like those should be sellout games. Those should be amazing. I mean, you put on like a fan village out the front. Honestly, put on playoffs. Put on the playoff final weekend. That is what that should be.
And realistically, that's probably exactly what's going to happen. I suppose if they're going to be holding a competition of this level, I'm going to guess that's exactly the kind of idea they'll have. Is they'll roll it out
Imagine
exactly
bunkers.
like it'll be exactly the
Imagine the
same.
melting pot of languages and jerseys, and that's just the Nottingham fans, let alone the European ones.
All still asking for hooch, but whatever.
I bet Mark's going to this. I bet he is.
I doubt it. I'm sure there's Giants games that will clash with it, so I'm sure he won't be. There was another one, and I can't find the information. But John, I think did you talk about it in one of your TikTok videos last week about is it Team GB or UK Hockey or some tournament coming up? No, I can't find it.
Yes, I did. I don't have the information to hand, but there is some. There's a European Cup or a Nations Cup. 4 Nations Cup is happening in preparation for the World Championships next year. Carry on. We'll talk about it in period 2.
That's right. Okay. I was checking to see if it was in a running order, and I think I see it there. So yeah, no worries. Okay, let's move on to the period of the penalty box segment for period 1. Let me just find the. You think I haven't done this before? Penalty box. There we go.
Woo!
We'll take that off the screen as well.
All right.
Genuinely not our first podcast, I swear to God. Penalty box segment is the first. This is the first that has returned for this season. The penalty box segment, for anybody who's new to our podcast, is exactly as it sounds. We talk about any kind of major hits, stops, decisions, or any kind of penalties that have hit the headlines or hit our attention. And obviously, the reason why we're bringing this one up is because it is the first DOPS decision of this season, and that is very, very, very tiny short statement that came out from DOPS, and this was from after the first weekend of action, where Scott Conway / Stars defenseman Justin Bean incident occurred at 59:33 seconds in the third period of action.
No, he didn't.
It was effective
Effective
immediately. Scott Conway was fined, which led to a lot of people asking, well, obviously the usual questions: what is the fine? Secondly, how do you do that effective immediately?
It was a buy now, pay later.
Did they have someone who was calling at his front door on the day when the fine was issued to get him to pay with his card? What was the correct effective?
Bailiffs turned up in Belfast and then got terrified and went to collect the money.
Exactly, because they realized they can't turn up in Belfast. But yeah, effective immediately. But guys, first one, not a lot of detail in this. I mean,
have you seen the video?
I have.
Shocker. We love Tap. Very touched him.
So massive caveat on that is the video that's been circulated. There's a big if that is what he's been fined for. Now, if it is, it's shocking because it's not. Okay, the stick comes down on the hand, but not with any sort of great force. But also, it wasn't called on the night. So this is the bigger question. The slash wasn't called on the night. Play continued. Scott Conway never went to the bin for this. This now sets a precedent that games are being refereed after the fact. So someone at DOPS or someone in Hockey Ops in the Elite League is re-refereeing games based on either a referee's report that says, "Oh, I missed that, I should have given him a penalty," or potentially worse than that is they're going through game tape and saying that should have been a penalty. Now, we haven't seen any others come up like that since. We've had no additional explanation because plenty of people asked, and to be honest, I didn't realise it hadn't been caught at first. It was Patrick Smith from A View from the Bridge who actually put that on X, and I went back and checked, and rightly so, he wasn't called on the night. That's a bigger problem for me, is if they're going to start re-refereeing games, using game tape, and start issuing fines left, right, and centre, let alone all the usual problems like you mentioned, Marty. We still don't know how much the fines are. We don't know who pays them. Is it the player or is it the team? We don't know where the money goes, and we don't know what the money is used for. Now, interestingly, I threw that up on X, and actual media, like the Fife Free Press, actually picked up on that, of all places, and sort of retweeted it and put it out there, asking similar questions. Turns out even traditional media can't get answers from the league on that.
And it's such a shocker whenever there is calls that are missed, proper calls that are missed. If you look at the game at the weekend there, Giants, Glasgow, there was a massive check to the head on Kawaguchi, and it was missed. They actually called Kawaguchi for tripping after, because he got a bit frustrated. And so he ended up sitting for 2 minutes. But like when you watch the play, and you see the replay of the penalty, the checking to the head's in it, and it's shocking. And there is elements of, if they're going to be reviewing tape, yeah, I don't like it, but you need to look for the big things, not wee things, not slashing. Slashing's not really something, unless there's a history and it's dangerous. Based on the video seen in this one, it didn't look like it was. I'm not a fan of any re-reffing. I think that if the call in the night wasn't there, the only reason there should be another is if the team has requested it, in the sense of they believe that there was something malicious or dangerous, or if there was a major major penalty on the night that gets reviewed. I think that looking for minor penalties is not what DOPS is for.
No, and it's just an interesting one, as you said, for it to be done the way it was done, like post game, and as you said, John, the precedent has been set. So it will be an interesting one to see moving forward if anything else becomes DOPS related and reviewed in the same way afterwards. But let's see if DOPS turns up again in the next few weeks, because they do tend to kind of disappear again, and you're like, oh, do they still exist? So watch this space and see if there's anything else. Guys, do we have any more stories for this period? Nope. Sweet. Then we'll get stuck into our period 2 of hockey.
Hello and welcome to Period 2 of Hockey. This is where we'll talk about everything from the rest of the world outside Great Britain. And this week we would normally go through the standings. However, we're 2 weeks in? Probably not much to look at. I know that the matches I've watched still felt a bit pre-season-y. I watched the Wild game against... Oh God, I can't remember who they were playing. It did feel very pre-season. It was a 3-2 win to the Wild. But yourselves watched any? Seen any?
Seen bits and pieces.
The only one I have seen was the Toronto game versus Montreal, where Toronto completely dominated and decimated Montreal 7-2 in that preseason game. but again, preseason, it's early days. I think there's a lot of concern and worries like going into the season about obviously the big hole that is Mitch Marner. So yeah, it was an interesting start. I did see as well. I was looking as well. Speaking of Mitch Marner, I did have a quick look to see at his debut for the Golden Knights after leaving Toronto, and he did record an assist in that game against Utah Mammoth with their brand new look. Have you seen the new look there? We looked at the jerseys, I think, whenever they were released, but
Really, I actually quite like them. Yeah, they look nice in the ice.
They do. They look good in the ice. That was the one thing I did notice. I thought it was pretty good. They did look quite well. But yeah, that's the only thing I've seen. That's only 2 games I've kind of paid attention to in the preseason. But as you said, Dave, like we are literally next weekend. This starts the 7th, I think, is the first games of the NHL season. So next week. So yeah, they become thick and fast there.
I know we're going to talk about Krill Kaprizov later on, but one of the interviews that I did see, which was very interesting, was the with Mitch Marner leaving Toronto, they're concerned about locker room cohesion. So it'll be interesting to watch because they've apparently Mitch was a very big voice in the room for the players with the coaches. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, how everything stables out with some of those new boys that have came in and the veteran talent that's still there now. So we want to watch.
The only other ones, I know you were saying, Dave, we'll talk about that story, but Krill.
Let's do it.
Fair enough. I was just going to mention. I was going to say before we get into that story, I was going to mention a couple of other little bits and pieces that I noticed from just looking through the headlines that weren't really kind of worthy to kind of have a full conversation about. It was just about already a couple of injuries and player status changes already announced. Nils Höglander for the Canucks underwent lower body surgery. Will miss 8 to 10 weeks, and Seattle Kraken lost defenseman Riker Evans as well before preseason upper body injury, and it's going to be out for 2 months roughly. And then the other one I think was announced earlier. I don't know if it was announced earlier this week, but it was the LA Kings captain, long-term captain, Ans Kopitar, announced that he's going to be retired. This is going to be his final season. 2025-2026 is going to be his final season, which marks 20-year career coming to an end with the LA Kings. So that was another one that was announced as well.
I do have something actually I saw on social media today. Do you know who's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this year?
I did see this.
Big Joe. Big Joe Thornton is going to get inducted, and if you haven't seen it, the video of the Hall of Fame guys phoning him to tell him that he's going to be inducted is actually brilliant. They tried to phone him, he didn't pick up, and eventually they got him, and he clearly had no idea, and it's fantastic. So Big Joe getting into the Hall of Fame is great. We'll probably talk about it more because I think they'll, as we go on, I think it's going to be November, December time they tend to do the inductions. So we'll probably get more announcements. That's obviously, I think the first announcement is that Big Joe is in the class of 25. So we'll get the rest of the announcements slowly. So maybe by the next podcast, you guys will be able to talk about it.
Interestingly that you mentioned Joe Thornton and obviously his link with the Boston Bruins, and today marks the 15 years ago today was the Belfast Giants select team taking on the Boston Bruins in Belfast. Nice little side note there.
I didn't know I was going to regret missing for the rest of my life.
There you go.
Big Zdeno Chara took to the ice. Yeah, so it was, as we've alluded to, this week seen a record signing within the NHL with Krill Kaprizov signing an 8-year deal for $136 million, being the highest paid NHL player at $17 million average annually, which will see him playing with the Wild until 2033-34. The Wild setting a big record gives me flashbacks of the Zach Parise Suter contract, which we all know was fantastic. However, the benefit here is that Krill is Wild through and through. He played his rookie games and he's been part of the Wild organization for years, even before he played. He was backed while he played in Russia, and I am eager to see what sort of player he will grow into. He's definitely one that's extremely interesting to watch and talented to watch. I'm always worried about these big deals because at the latter end you end up with a bit of deadwood. The good thing being is he's still young, so he might still, he'll want a decent trade and come into the end of that, and obviously you don't want to be lingering around, so we'll see how it goes.
I suppose the biggest talking point that's really unfortunately for Kaprizov, it hasn't been about his payday. It's been about the payday of another particular player upcoming, and basically everyone is out there saying who is going to give McDavid 20 million a year. Like that is the number that seems to be floating about, that when we hear of a McDavid deal, it's likely to be 20 million annually. My biggest question with that is, are we getting back to danger territory with the salary cap, and do we eventually see the things like the CBA ended up with lockouts again, because we end up with long, massive deals locking out huge amount of money through the cap? So the only alternative is to massively increase the cap, which we've seen the NHL Board of Governors is not willing to do. They will up it slightly. I think we saw one of the biggest percentage increases 2 years ago, but like post
There was a big one
COVID,
the
and that
off-season
was
this year.
that was driven heavily with the fact that a lot of the players were behind quite a lot because of COVID on their escrow. So basically, the money that they had to give back to the NHL owners and the NHL board.
So there was a wee bit of the reason the Wild is that they didn't have that. The reason they were able to spring that money for Kipper is that they were basically running in net positive for all their cap space. So they had
But
not.
it doesn't
They
change
didn't
the
have
fact
anything.
it doesn't change the fact that that's a record-breaking deal, and it doesn't matter if he's Kirill Kaprizov. He's not Connor McDavid, and Connor McDavid's not going to take less than the biggest deal currently on the table. So we end up in a situation where Connor McDavid takes 20 million, then the next Connor McDavid needs 22, needs 25. And it's a dangerous slope. And are we close to leaving the era of the salary cap?
I mean, this is the thing. So this is what one of the questions that whenever I read this story, and I think we've talked about this before. I mean, if we think back to, I think it was 2000, and now someone can fact check me, but I think it was 2010. Eli Kovalchuk was playing for the New Jersey Devils at the time, was offered, I believe, something in the region of 17 years for 100 million or 105 million, something around that, but definitely it was like 17 years, 100 and whatever million. And at the time that was rejected because they felt that circumvented the salary cap, and there was a whole risk at that point of a potential lockout again because of these.
They had also front loaded.
Yeah, it was all these things.
Front loaded his contract as well. They had said that he was going to make X more in the first 5 years, and the latter half would be like tapered down, which would mean that the end of that he would basically be paying for free, leaving a massive jump in the salary cap for New Jersey.
Yeah,
and that was the big thing that everybody was concerned about.
We started seeing these really bloated contracts with high salaries, and I think then at that point, by the time it came to about 2012 or so, there was that chat of a potential NHL lockout. Now it was circumvented because I think there was a whole big thing around the collective bargaining agreement at the time, where there's an agreement put in place about the cap and about how changes should be made in place to make sure that these bloated, massive contracts were a bit more controlled. You're right. It feels like we're kind of going towards a direction of massive year-long contracts with money that's starting to get a bit like, what are we talking about here?
But the big thing for me is it's not just about the deals, it's not just about how long they are, and it's not just about the money. The NHL is changing as well. So the last couple of years, sponsorship, whether you love it or hate it, sponsorship in a big way is leaking into the game in the way that it has elsewhere. So we've now got, what have we got? Shoulder patches and helmet stickers are the two main ones now within the league. I see that just being a slippery slope. Ice sponsorship will come, but I think that is that a thing?
It's digital life sponsor
Digital
at the minute,
sponsors.
Yeah.
but there'll
But
be actual life sponsors next
There,
year.
there will be ice sponsors before long. Finally, the era of North America having it over us with having clean ice for their games it's got to end eventually. And if these numbers for these players is going to go up, and let's be honest, like these are big numbers, but they're probably we've said it before, they're the cheapest pro sportsman
Yeah.
in North America and most
And
likely in
by
the world.
some considerable margin as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have a problem specifically about these big deals, because if these guys were playing NFL, if they were playing NBA, if they were playing baseball even, there are baseball players who make more than these guys. Like
Well,
baseball
I was
players, if the
watching-
ball goes past them that close, they're falling down. If soccer players go down, you would think that they'd broken every bone in their body. Like they would
Well,
not
there's-
survive playing on
There's
the
a
ice.
there's a comment from Anthony about the about specifically, and it mentions NBL. He's got Juan Soto, who gets 51 million a season for 15 years.
It's just trying
I
to
got
find
a
that there.
75 million signing bonus. So I mean, the money is drastically different.
But look at
in
that.
the
He's,
sports.
he's throwing in a secondary. He's throwing a secondary. So bear that in mind. And then look at the Ovechkin. Total career and earnings from NHL is only $170 million.
Hmm.
I mean, only. Like, all I want is one of those and I can stop working. But, like, it's,
so
it's
there's
just
there's
insane. I don't understand how the NHL continues in this business model. Eventually, this has to change. It just has to.
Here's an example, just to give you an idea. So we know that the NHL is very popular league around the world. It's the third biggest televised sport in the world, and all this lovely stuff.
Not here, it's not.
NBA, which is one of the biggest sports in North America, but it's not really big elsewhere. Jason Tamu of the Boston Celtics, $313 million for a 5-year deal. So that gives you an idea of what they're up against, especially whenever you're considering kids when they start out in juniors. Some of them think, "Oh, I want to be a sports star," and they might be good at multiple sports. And if they, especially with the American scholarship system, they'll pick the one that pays the most. And if ice hockey's not in that list, they're gonna take an easier sport. And to be fair, they're all easier.
Well, they're all
much
more cost effective to get involved in for a start,
Yep.
except for maybe
You just need a-
NFL.
Yeah.
But you don't need an
Engine
ice
bar.
plant to keep your football field
No.
going. You just need a lawnmower. I've got a lawnmower.
And
I could do that job. I don't have a Zamboni, which my daughter
so
loves,
that
by
was
the way. Best
Zamboni?
part of the game in Glasgow.
Oh,
She
yeah.
loved the Zambonis. Total aside
My
there.
kids
Sorry.
love Zamboni. So yeah, that was the biggest wild news for this week. Marty, I will fire it over to you. Do you want to talk about yours?
I think we'll skip it. We'll move on to
Skip
John's
that
next one.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go to John. You can pick
Okay.
one. Dealer's choice.
We alluded to it, and I very panically went and found all the information. So I have found the information on GB. You're right, Marty. It should have been in the running order. It wasn't. So the Team GB set up in their preparations for the 2026 World Championships will be participating in a European Cup of Nations in 2 tournaments. And they will also have some friendlies to play come the end of the domestic season here in the UK. So starting off, they will play in a place that I'm not going to attempt to say, but I tell you it's in Poland. They'll play Italy, Slovenia, and, funny enough, host Poland over the 6th to the 9th of November. Then, this was the big news, was that Team GB will host Poland, Slovenia, and Team Ukraine in Edinburgh, lads. They're bringing international ice hockey back to Scotland and bringing it to one of the old school rinks in Murrayfield, one of the coldest places on earth, where somehow when it was snowing outside the last time we went, it was still warmer outside than it was inside. But Yeah, and then come the end of the domestic season in late April, early May, they'll then play 4 friendly competitions against Italy, 2 at home and 2 away. Guys, I'll throw it to you. Is this decent preparation for what could be one of the defining moments in Team GB's World Championships histories? The attempt once again to stay up in top flight.
It's probably the best that they can organise. You're not going to get those top flight teams; they're just not available outside the windows. This is a Italy's fantastic team, and it's always really good to see GB play them. I think just getting more time on the ice is huge. The decision to go to Murrayfield, I think, is amazing. I think that's good to get more GB visibility north of the border. And then when they take their friendlies at home, they're not just staying in Nottingham, they're also going to Milton Keynes, so they're taking it as south as they can without getting past London. And then obviously the Motorpoint Arena returning home to the National Ice Centre. So I think it's, as I said, it's as good as they'll get. I think any time that GB can spend together on the ice is only a good thing.
100%.
Marty,
I think one of the big things about it, which was lovely to see, was this whole announcement that the tournament would be held, the February tournament would be held in Edinburgh. I think this is probably the first time GB men's team will be playing in Scotland in a tournament from maybe like the 90s, maybe, or it's been hosted from from Edinburgh from the 90s, I think maybe. But I mean, I think it just reconnects the team back to like kind of roots in terms of like some of the major things that happened, and I just think it's really nice that it's kind of there and they've kind of incorporated that. Would I love to go to the Edinburgh games myself? 100%, because I love Murrayfield, and I think I always sing my praises for Murrayfield and the fun, amazing games that I've been to in Murrayfield, and I've been to quite a few of them up there for going to see the Giants play against the Edinburgh Capitals, and it's always been just a fantastic little location. And as you say, John, it's quirky, it's got its quirks, it's rickety seats, it's cold, it's whatever, but it's got real character about it, and I really, really like it. And I think that was a great announcement.
We know it's had an upgrade since we were there.
Yeah,
that's true.
Paint,
it's got the new bar. So it's not that they're taking this tournament to a place where the roof is barely hanging on, and if you sit down in any of the seats, you get splinters. Like, you might still get splinters, to be fair, but it looks well for its age these days.
I think,
as opposed to another very close rink that some of us know and love very well.
And back to your question, just that you were asking obviously about the kind of like, the tournament part itself. I think the announcement itself, I think, shows that, GB is content. Well, they're not content with just qualifying. It's not just content with just qualifying. I think they really want to kind of plan like this kind of like regular, meaningful kind of international contest to kind of really build the team to kind of move forward. We've talked about it, and we've seen how the Olympic qualifiers and stuff went, and I think we know that Team GB has aspirations in the future, and I think this is the first step, is to kind of make sure we're kind of creating more opportunities throughout the season. So yeah, it'll be good to kind of see that more action taking place in these different variations of the European Cup of Nations.
And I wonder, you made a point, Marty, as well, like you said, about sort of reconnecting the national team to the Scottish audience as well. And I wonder if that's maybe a hangover from having hosted the competition in the World Championships in Belfast. I wonder if they saw a resurgence in fans in Belfast in particular taking note of the Team GB setup. I know that probably when they decided that, they probably thought, actually, is this fraught with a little bit of peril here? But actually, the vast majority of the Belfast crowd really took to seeing GB do well in that tournament. They won gold in that tournament as well, and won promotion, I think, to 1A. I think they were in 1B at that point and got promotion to 1A at that tournament. I still stand, one of my favourite things of that entire tournament was watching Rod Stewart nearly fall out the box while his son was playing on the ice. That man had the best time in Belfast, I think, of anyone I've ever seen. So yeah, I wonder if bringing hockey to Scotland is part of that as well. And actually, as he does, Anthony's still in the chat here, and he's saying good to see GB out the same few places, like basically the Midlands. And it should be good for Scottish hockey and the SNL as well.
100%. 100%. Yeah. So talking about tournaments, John, you have another piece you would like to chat about?
Yep. So Friendship 4. Big announcements this last week in the Friendship 4, and that is the confirmation that not only will we be getting the 2026 competition, but 2027 and 2028 are all fully confirmed as well. 2026 will see Connecticut, Providence, Minnesota, Duluth, and Colgate take part in the decade-old now competition, looking to see who will lift the bell pot. The 2027 competition will see Northeastern, Quinnipiac, North Dakota, and Wisconsin, while the 2028 lineup will see Notre Dame, Omaha, Dartmouth, and Maine. Guys, it's great to see the future of this competition secured for another few years. One of the biggest things for me is we're seeing a lot of returnees. Colgate, Northeastern, Quinnipiac, Notre Dame, for example, all coming back to Belfast because they value it so much.
And the fact that they're now pushing that envelope for that reach of teams. Obviously, used to be limited to that Maine, northeastern part of the United States, larger Boston area. Now, obviously, we're getting teams from across the US. That take to the this or next year, 2026. Connecticut and Minnesota Duluth, that's huge. Having that big move to bring in teams far and wide, and that might just
Maine. Just have to
solidifies
look
it
at
more,
Maine coming from Florida in 2028.
Yeah.
So it will be awesome to see, and yeah, we'll keep a close eye. I think that it's just going to grow, which is. It's not surprising to us having seen it, but I think people outside looking in may have seen it as a sort of flash in the pan, but it definitely isn't. It's still one of my landmark calendar dates. I love the Friendship 4. I missed it last year. I'll definitely be making it this year. The kids also love watching it. They usually get to go with their youth club, which is huge. And there's normally visits from these schools out and about in Northern Ireland as well, which is huge.
I mean, we've seen just the kind of the draw that the dividends that this competition has, came up with. That it has, brought in players to this league because of this tournament. I think nearly every single team across this league has benefited from this tournament by having players coming in who have played NCAA games in Belfast as part of Friendship 4. So the fact that they can now expand it, include more teams, varying it right across the whole of the states. Obviously bringing in places like Maine, as you said, John, Florida and a couple of other places. I mean, that's just enlarging the whole sphere in terms of like where the scope and the pool could be moving forward. I mean, it's a great competition, Dave, exactly as you said. It's a brilliant competition on the hockey calendar. It's worth going to, even when you do go along into a jersey and you're wearing a jersey of a team that is playing and you get a stick from the other player. It's fine. It's okay. But no, it's great. Not just for the development for the hockey aspect of things, but also from a Northern Ireland point of view, tourism point of view, the fact that they've committed to this length of time for another 3 years shows that there's confidence in the fact that Belfast can continue hosting this. And I suppose that's just another massive boost for the tourism and local economy, I suppose, because they see it as something that's probably beneficial as well. So
couldn't agree more.
Can I ask you guys just one potentially controversial question around the announcement that we had? Would it have potentially been nice to have had a similar announcement about the Friendship Series?
Yes.
Yeah, it's 100%. Like, it would be something you would love to have seen them to go hand in hand. The other side of that is I do think that it deserves its own announcement. I'm assuming that it'll continue, and it would be nice to have a bit of a fanfare on its own. Separate from the meal competition, but yeah, 100%.
My problem my problem is that I always say this about the Friendship Series. The Friendship Series just frustrates me in some ways because the Friendship Series, it should be bigger. It should be more advertised. It should be advertised far better. It should be more advertised way more in advance. It should be pushed just as much, but it isn't, and it's it's priced differently. I know they'll say, "Oh, but people don't want to come out and see women's hockey." Fair enough, but it's priced differently. But is it priced differently because the promotion of it is done differently too, and it's not as heavily promoted and it's not as heavily pushed as what this one is. But
Obviously, we don't have any behind the door knowledge of what's
no, we
happening,
don't. You're right,
and
100%.
There's probably, I would say, there's probably not an issue from like the UK side. It's probably the funding that comes from North America, because there wouldn't be as much capital available from those clubs when it comes to transport and getting the teams over and what they're going to shell out from a like additional advertising stuff that they would tap into it. Yes, would I love the UK and the Northern Ireland government to pick up the additional to make it just as big, 100%. Are they going to? The minute we can barely get them to agree on how to fix our water, So.
Well, I want to touch. I know that we probably should have brought this up in period one, but I do want to bring up some conversations that came out of basically the conversation around the Friendship 4 and around Belfast in particular. The news that we've got is that there's a lot of investment coming to Belfast by means of ice hockey. So if you're familiar with the SSE Arena, you'll know that a number of years ago, the centre Jumbotron scoreboard was taken out and replaced by 2 screens on opposite corners of the rink. Now, the story is that that will be going up to 4. All 4 corners will have screens coming this year. Should have been this year, but will be next year. So 2026-27, we'll have 4 big screens across the arena. But that's not the only thing that they're talking about.
We got one panel of plexi.
Also talking about, well, you've now got one piece of clean plexi.
Everybody go sit in that corner.
What's that going to be? Door 11?
11?
Yeah.
11
Door 10, door 11. Talk of digital advertising boards.
Seen that?
In the SSE, which would make the SSE Arena, I believe, the first Elite League venue to move with the time slightly and bring in digital advertising boards on the rink. So, guys, this is the first talking point. How would you feel about digital advertising boards across the rink?
I mean, I guess it makes sense, doesn't it? It's the next stage up. The arena always talked about that that the SSE was the home of the Belfast Giants that doubled up and played second, and had Giants first, gigs and concerts second. So I guess it makes sense if they're putting this investment in to continue this trend of NCAA hockey. Talk again of, I know it kind of fell through, but the talk again of trying to push for another NHL team coming back to Belfast or hosting an NHL series potentially.
Well, there's talk of
part of the global series type stuff.
Something has been spoken about potentially for next summer. Is it a tease?
And I mean, you've also got non-hockey related, but you've also got a major, massive broadcast happening in February this year. Coming, WWE Raw is going to be coming live, so that's the proper live WWE show on Netflix. Hundreds of millions of people watching that. That's coming live from Belfast this year as well. I mean, that's a massive thing as well. So obviously, you've got all of these things that are coming up, and you've got all these massive bits and pieces. So the investment needs to come, and I guess that's one of the things. Then additional screens and the billboard thing. And I think I also read in that same thing, John, you're talking about. There was talk about that they're still moving forward. I think they're about 100. Was it something like 100 million or something off or something? One. Really, is that little? They're like they're within reach of kind of the capital they need to expand and create the second ice pad, which would be a training facility / community kind of thing. And I know that's been on the cards, for years down in that area. So that'll be an interesting one as well if that can be pulled off. And maybe that's part and parcel of this whole kind of mass, bringing more people in and kind of making it more, appealing and having this this world class facility on the other side of the road to this training facility. So yeah, be interesting to see.
Marty, you mentioned Raw there, and Anthony's in the comments here. This means absolutely nothing to me. Does it mean anything to you, Dave Finlay?
Yeah, no, it does. He's a local legend, I guess. He's obviously a retired wrestler, but who's also coached for years and was part of the backstage crew, Fit Finlay. You probably mostly well known for anybody who has a kind of an idea, a tiny bit of knowledge about WWE. For a long time, at the end of his career, he had a leprechaun with him called Hornswoggle. And that was his whole shtick at the end. But yeah, he was a Belfast boy, and he used to have the Belfast Brawl matches as well. So yeah, it's quite funny.
Never mind that. See, to be honest, if Raw's going to come from Belfast in the SSE, if Adam Keefe doesn't come out, drop an elbow on someone and throw the elbow pad in the air, I'm gonna riot. I've myself and my nephew have our names down for the pre-sale stuff, and I'm really, really terrified to see what the prices are going to be, the price marks for the tickets, because in Dublin, I think the prices are starting at something like, I think they were around £300 per ticket. I think down in Dublin for the live SmackDown, I think it was last month or the month before.
Wow.
So I don't even want to hazard a guess of how much it's going to be.
I was going to kind of take the mick out you there and say to watch sweaty men slap each other around, and then I remembered we're an ice hockey podcast.
I there's no secret that I'm a wrestling fan, and I don't mind saying that. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to watch. It is lovely to see the Odyssey SSE, which is up for renewal next year.
Yeah.
So the naming rights for the Odyssey is up for renewal. I think it's next year. I would expect it to continue, but
I can't handle another name change. I've spent. I mean, how many names has Cardiff's new arena had already? Like, I can't do another name change, guys. Also, I can't start changing the passwords on stuff again. I'll leave it at that.
And then so seeing the Odyssey as a sporting venue, and then the improvements that we've had with the concourse, or whatever you call it, the pavilion, being improved has been huge. So it will be awesome to see. Hopefully that improvement continues, and we just see that space grow and grow and grow. We had a few dark days where everything was closing, so it's good to see that change. Anything else, guys, for period 2?
Nope.
Awesome. Then I think we're ready to move on to period 3.
Period 3 is our general Knocky News.
Knocky News.
Knocky News is for anything and everything else in the world of hockey that doesn't fit neatly into periods 1 or 2, or generally, this is just where we talk about jerseys, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Guys, there are actually, I know in the running order it just shows 1, but there's 3, because I actually forgot about a couple that have released since our last podcast, but we haven't actually spoken about. So, with that in mind, let's get started with the most recent reveal, and that is the Nottingham Panthers revealed their movie night jerseys. Clearly Star Wars inspired, guys. What are the thoughts on these?
I'll go first.
No.
I want one. I know, and it's rare for me to say I wanted a Panthers jersey, but I mean, as soon as I seen these, I was on social media and seen these come up, and I just thought to myself, I mean, we're geeks on this podcast. Like, we're proud of it as well. Like, if you look behind me, we've got a Millennium Falcon in the top corner, and we have a full row of Star Wars themed Lego here behind me in this thing. Massive fan of Star Wars, and this is just, I think it's brilliant. I love it, and it's done right as well. I think it's done really, really well. Yeah, Dave here as well. I think it's done really, really well. And if they don't come out, if they don't come out like with loads of lightsabers on the night and encourage people to come along with their lightsabers, although it would be seen as weapons, don't know. But I think you're missing the trick if they don't have people coming along with lightsabers. And if you were here in Belfast, I'm sure the 501 Legion, who are the part of the Belfast group here in Belfast, I'm sure if it was an Odyssey thing and it was being done there, I'm sure they would all be at this game. So yeah, no, it looks great. I love it. I think I'm a big fan of them.
Dave?
I do have to agree. They are. I love a good event jersey, a good special one-off. I think they've done a great job. They decided to go with the Darth Vader, suits their colours, and they've done a good job. They haven't went too out there. They've kept kept it, make it look like a hockey jersey, but then with the everything you need to know that it's actually Darth Vader. I think it's class.
If I'd actually thought to do it, I would have thrown up the picture that I. Let me see if I can still do it here. I really
What
want
are your
to
thoughts
show.
on it, John? Then?
This is where everyone just laughs because this is just where everything always falls down on this podcast. Is I don't like it. Nottingham have not done much wrong this year in their jerseys, but sadly, this is just not for me. This one.
Why?
Because you like it, Marty.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just there's something about it that's just not for me. I don't like the blank design in the back, and I get that that's supposed to be Vader's cape. The ghosting effect, it's the mustard, it's the yellow that takes me out of it. That's
Oh,
literally
John,
all it
come
is.
on.
I'm
You serious?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm serious. I don't like these. What I will say, and I really, really had kind of hoped that Nottingham would grasp onto this, is tell me that Chase Shaber does not look like Anakin Skywalker.
Do you know what I really liked about this? I love the really crude Photoshop-y style lightsaber that you put in his hand as well. I just thought, yeah, how you changed that to look like a lightsaber. I just think, you know what, fair enough. I know it was a stick, it was in his hand, so it was easier to do, but fair play to you. It looks really good.
Listen, there are artists who make their life doing way less than that. So like if you've got graphic design you want done for your team, come and speak to me. That's all I'm saying. Guys, to be fair, when I did post that, I was quite worried because Chase is known for having fallings out with people on social media. So I was waiting for him to have his moment with us, but it hasn't happened yet. So clearly he likes being compared to Anakin Skywalker. Guys, there's another couple of jerseys to look at very quickly. We are into the month of October, and that means Oktoberfest. And we've had a couple of Oktoberfest jerseys released. They have both been played in already. So I'll make that caveat that these jerseys have been played in. First one is Fife. I will throw it out there straight away. I think they did a great job with these.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I thought it looked really good. They looked well on the ice, the game there at the past weekend. I think they looked the part, and I genuinely think it was done. It was executed very, very well.
Yeah, totally agree. And they had said they were going to wear the brown shorts. Did they on the night?
I think they did.
Really recognise. Yeah, I know. I read it on social media that they had matching shorts, which I think would have just finished it. Yeah, no, I do like it. You do again. It's a novelty jersey. I love a good novelty jersey.
Well, you say you like a novelty jersey, Dave. It wasn't the only Oktoberfest jersey. The Glasgow Clan had a stab at it as well. Guys, this doesn't do it for me.
What's going on with the checkers?
I mean, I see what they're
twisted now.
I mean, I see what they're trying to do with the checkers. It kind of looks like, like they're trying to do like a, like table runner type cloth thing. That's just, I don't know. It's weird.
How is that a thing? How is that a thing?
It's
what
weird.
does that have to do with Oktoberfest? A table runner. You don't put a table runner on and then put lederhosen on.
It's weird. It just looks weird. I don't like it at all. It just, this is executed poorly.
Yes. And they were so close. They could have just had a purple jersey behind it, and it would have been all right.
Yeah.
And it's
they literally can't win. They either do too little and it's crap, or they do too much and it's crap. Like that.
Yeah,
that's literally Glasgow's entire thing with their jersey designs this year. Do you know the thing that really, really bugs me about this? And I noticed it a couple of days ago when I was thinking about putting it onto the podcast, and I did a TikTok video on it as well. See the clan logo? It's not centered on the lederhosen.
Oh, it's just like clip art over the top of it.
Yep.
Oh, for
It's not
fuck's
scaled
sake.
Yeah.
You can see,
Oh yeah, it's
you
slightly
can see the wee
tilted
bits
to
at the bottom and all.
Yeah, it's slightly moved over to the left. Yeah, I can see that.
But even at that, it's like up and down the way. It's not even on.
Yeah. Because there's
They
like you
just
can see a bit of the lederhosen just below the where it says clan at the C, and then the N. You can
Oh,
see a tiny
yeah.
bit of brown just
Yeah.
poking through.
What's that about?
It's amazing.
It's the details,
amazing.
guys. It's the details. Fix the details.
But they don't want to hear
We're
from us
definitely-
because apparently we're fans. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We're definitely into that period of special one-off jerseys. Special one-off. I mean, at this point, your regular season jersey is a special one-off jersey. Like that's going to be used less than it normally should be. So
which is
There will
an
be plenty
absolute
to talk
blessing
about.
for the Belfast Giants fans.
that's true, guys. I saw for the first time that white jersey in person.
Oh,
What is that about?
That's awful.
It's brutal.
terrible.
They look like zebras with birth defects.
The teal one for the Challenge Cup is awful on the ice. It looks even worse. It looks like they just grabbed some random training jersey and threw it on.
But
They're
that's saying
so-
something
they're
because
so
the
bad
cup
this year.
jersey was the better looking one.
Yeah,
That away jersey, God love those guys having to wear that all season because that's brutal.
It's god awful this year. They really are really bad.
It has to be the one that every single person I've spoken to agrees about. There's not been a
Yeah,
dissenter that I've spoken to that have liked it.
And the fact that we've now said it on the podcast, we'd like to say goodbye to our chances of interviewing anyone from Belfast this season.
But what were the chances anyway?
That's pretty true, to be fair. Marty, that's it for period 3.
and that's it then for the podcast this week. We don't have anything for our overtime segment, so that takes us into our outro, if you will. And we will obviously, as usual, we ask everyone to kind of follow us on YouTube, Facebook, social media, and you can do that nicely up in this nice little QR code that will show up on the screen. If you haven't already, you can follow us on our socials up in the corner, so click that and you can find out. If you aren't on our YouTube channel, you can find our YouTube channel on here. Oh my god, it's really hard to do. If you are on our YouTube and you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell, which is down in the corner here. We have been adding some new stuff to our channel, which we hopefully people are enjoying. More to come this coming week. We have, what do we have this week? This week we have a top 10 things to know about the NHL, seeing as the NHL is starting next week, so we have an NHL video going out this week. And we also have the brief history of the Belfast Giants, which was just out this week, and we have the Cardiff Devils coming next in about 2
Marty,
weeks time.
we don't
Next.
like pumping your tires, but the content you're putting out
Fantastic.
on YouTube is fantastic, mate. So
I'm trying my best. There's a few factual inaccuracies, but you know what? One or two here or there
Creative
isn't a
liberties.
massive
That's what
thing,
Anthony's
you know.
for. That's why he just gives us the corrections. It's fine.
It's fine. But no, I'm enjoying it, and hopefully people are enjoying it too, and we'll add on. And people have been asking for other
Even-
things, so I'll start maybe doing that.
Even if we get censured on a certain fan Facebook group, how dare they? How dare they?
We did see
They
that
know
today.
who they are as well.
As always, we are a podcast first and foremost, and we have been. So if you do listen to us as a podcast, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave us a review, comment, whatever it is in your podcast provider of choice. You can also ask for the latest episode on your smart speakers as well. Don't forget to do that. That is us for this week. Oh, I should mention also, don't forget to check out Door 14 Hockey as well, door14hockey.com as well. That's here, where all of this episode and all the previous episodes are up there, so you can check those all out too. That is it for this week. We will be back in 2 weeks' time. Sans, is that the right phrase? John with us in 2 weeks' time. John, before you go, we just want to
I
say,
will
good
see
luck
you when
with
I-
everything. Yep. And we look forward to hearing the announcement, and we will look forward to welcoming you back on the podcast whenever you are ready. With that, we will sign off for this week. I'm Marty.
Dave.
I'm John.
Have a great week.